Thank you very much, Madam Chair, members. My name is David Farnsworth. I am State Senator, Legislative District 10. My credentials I want to suggest are the fact that I have 13 granddaughters. I also have grandsons, but I will focus on the granddaughters because it's pertinent to what we're talking about. I believe this is an issue that I didn't want to get involved with, but a few years ago someone shared with me the numbers of missing children. I tried to ignore him, quite frankly, but he shared them again and again and again. And at one point I got upset. I said, I don't want to hear these numbers again unless you can verify them. And he whipped out his phone. He says, let me show you. And the thought occurred to me, and I said, I have a better idea. Let's go across the street to JLBC. They're the numbers people, and let them verify the numbers. I went over there, and we talked to them. And when they came back with the results that these numbers were quite accurate, that's when I became concerned to the point where I could not walk away from this issue again. I have been passionate about it ever since, and I have given one recommendation basically, that everyone go to the DCS website, to their reports, their monthly reports. It's an Excel spreadsheet. Scroll down to the area. It says 0 to 17, and you can look it up by percentage or by child. I suggest you look up by child because these are human beings, not numbers. And you've heard the numbers. Anika Robinson mentioned those numbers, the current ones. I've been looking at them literally for years, and I have consistently suggested that people look at the DCS website. You scroll down to the line that says runaways, and that's the larger number. Then right below that is missing/abducted. And that is the line that I think we should all focus on the most, because DCS explains that they don't know what happened to them. And it's many children, and it has been. And I will say that my concern has not been lessened, but only heightened. By the way, I'm chairman of Transportation, Technology, and I made a request that missing children be added to my committee. And I got the preliminary approval for that this morning. So the new committee is going to be Transportation, Technology, and Missing Children in the Senate. And we will be focusing, and you know, I don't have the answers, but what I believe in is if we sit down at a table and present a problem, that good minds can come together and come up with good answers on how we can make this department better. Obviously, the Department of Child Safety is not going away, but I believe that we can all agree we must help them to be better.
Senator Farnsworth, if we could kind of, I don't think we mentioned to the audience and speakers, because of time and having to kind of keep things rolling, our speakers are going to be limited to 3 minutes. Including our senators and representatives. So if you could just wrap it up, and then we'll open up for questions.
Thank you. I have a short statement that I'll read here. If state government uses law enforcement power to forcibly remove children from their parents' homes because of unsafe conditions, then state government must also provide those children with a safe haven, both physically and emotionally. Otherwise, these vulnerable children may be inflicted with more harm than good. State government does a pretty good job of protecting money, automobiles, and buildings. However, we must find a way to protect children or not even claim to have a Department of Child Safety. Children are being kidnapped, murdered, and are being forced into sex trafficking world because of state negligence. We will hold DCS accountable and increase oversight to ensure the safety and well-being of Arizona's children. Thank you very much. That's all I have unless there's a question.
I have a question for you. Senator Farnsworth, I just recently saw, and for the press that is here, it looks like you were quoted yesterday in a Capital Times article, or 2 days ago. A question I have for you, and for some of our senior lawmakers, Representative Contreras and Hernandez and yourself, who have been in this arena for a longer period of time, would you say some of these issues are new, or to your knowledge, how long has there been some issues?
Thank you for that question. Madam Chair, I recall about 30 years ago being approached by some parents who were very distraught because CPS is what it was at the time, had taken away their children, and they felt like it was totally unjustifiable, and they were very distraught and distressed because they didn't know what to do about it. I have been looking at the numbers for about 5 years, and one of the things that is most alarming that I found from the DCS website is the fact that the numbers change. I did a Facebook Live about 3 years ago that explained this, and you can go back and take a look at that. But basically, the reporting goes back for 6 months, and I believe it was 2017, June is what I looked at. And they had a certain number of missing children, and then 3 months later, I went back to that same month on the Excel spreadsheet, and the number had increased. I saw that happen over and over again, and I think that if this had been a financial spreadsheet and there was numbers that changed, someone probably would have gone to jail. But I suppose because they're children, it doesn't matter. Obviously, I'm being a little sarcastic there.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I think we have a...
Thank you, please, Alma.
Madam Chair and Senator Farnsworth, I did have a question. I know you're mentioning the spreadsheet on the DCS website. Did it tell us what % of those children have been found? I know you said that the numbers changed, so was that the number you were looking at as far as how many of those have been identified and found that were missing? Or is that a question for DCS?
Representative Hernandez, I'm not an expert on their spreadsheet. I will say it is a massive spreadsheet with a lot of numbers on it. I have focused on those 2 lines, runaways and missing children. Now, why the numbers have changed is a question, but the question is, why would a number change months ago? And so how they come to that number, I'm not an expert there. It just says these are the number of children that are missing in this month, and it's a month behind. Okay. So not sure how to answer that question, except I do know that when they turn 18, my understanding is when a child turns 18, if they're still missing, they're just dropped off the rolls and they disappear forever, which is a concern.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair, are we going to have someone from the department? I'm just trying to figure out if we even know or keeping track of how many have been found.
Our final speaker will be a representative from DCS.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind to ask. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Okay.